Well, good morning to you, Grenada, Carriacou, PD, Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. It is just about 6 minutes gone past 9 a.m. And we do apologize for the late start. I'm Janelle, and joining me this morning is Disaster Management Risk Specialist, Mr. Sylvan McIntyre. He's a regular on a Monday morning. Good morning and welcome to the Point.
Good morning to you, and good morning to all our viewers, listeners, our followers. And Janelle, it's really good to have you in studio with us this morning.
I think the pleasure is all mine. It's been a while. I've been wanting to have a chat with you because you've been doing such great work every Monday morning, keeping us informed, updated, and prepared.
Yes.
And I think we're getting ready to enter one of the busiest seasons for the year. And I know you probably try to give it up, but we always lean on you.
Of course. I am very service oriented, and I think I found my calling. My niche area is that of giving service, and anything I can do to help Grenada to be better prepared and to help develop the human resource at any way and any means possible. God grant the strength and the time. I'm doing that.
Well, I hope He grants you a lot more strength and time.
Yeah. I mean, if I don't get the amount I expect, I'll be disappointed.
I think Grenada benefits.
Yeah, Grenada benefits.
We're all winners. I always say if we have 5 good Grenadians like Sylvan, we set,
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
we set.
Great.
Yeah, so I was kind of out of it for a little bit. So take me through what you've been doing the last couple of weeks.
Right. So we've been following the recent trend of what's been happening. We've been looking at the weather patterns that, climate change has impacted tremendously. We've had flooding situations and consistent rain during what should be the peak of the dry season. That is kind of off the thing. We had flooding in one area. As a matter of fact, we had a bus that was trapped in the middle of one of the roads on the eastern coastline coming down Crowshoe just a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
That is...
I missed that one.
Yeah. And so fire trucks and traffic and all that had to be called in, and people were locked in the middle of flooding water, and that's in the middle of the dry season. And then the south of the island, other places, they were as dry as normal.
Wow.
And then,
would you say we had a dry season though?
Oh no! We according to what the meteorologists forecasted for this year, we should have had, and it lived up to its expectation, an above normal dry season. It's a wetter than normal dry season, they call it. And so it was a welcome. It is a welcome season for farmers, and I'm a farmer as well. Yes. So we continue to plant, and the plants that we have in the ground, they all flourished. Right. So that's a plus. We're wishing that we could have more seasons like that. And even Nawasa too, to an extent, we want to give them a bit of flowers. They did very well in terms of valve control,
right.
And we've not had a lot of that happening across country. The water was well balanced. To the south of the island, that used quite a considerable amount of water around this time. We did see the tankers and so on still moving to the south, but we were not so severely impacted, and God bless.
Thank you.
So that's been good. On the other end of it, though, we've seen some social issues. We've had some crime. We've had some accidents and so happening, and it leads a lot of questions as to, our social intervention and how we mesh and blend as each other as a society and community. And we've seen some stabbing. We've had shootings and so on. We've had involvement of, casting, blame against law enforcement, and in some places against the community members and so on. So it's quite a bit that has been happening. So through our programs, we are trying to navigate through it and to be able to keep that balance and to be able to help guide our national entity in terms of where they can direct some focus.
Right.
And it's not about always identifying the issues and speak about the negative, but as you realize on the program that we host on Mondays, we identify the issues, keep the eyes on the issues, and we make recommendations as to what we think best can correct it. In addition to that, we give flowers. So we give highlights, praises to people and entities. And this morning, we would want to be able to do a little bit of that. And then we're going to dive into the substantial issues of
for today,
how we can prepare for the hurricane season.
Okay. Before we start giving the flowers, though, I just want to go back a little bit. You mentioned an incident a couple of weeks ago where you had a bus stuck in a flood.
Yeah.
I remember it was a couple months ago. We had a situation with some weather kind of unexpected, and people were going home early, and the traffic situation was a nightmare.
Right.
That situation with the bus, were we more prepared? Did we do any better?
I think in terms of our response, and the action of the driver itself was okay, because I think a lot of people don't understand, if you come across flooding areas, what to do. And so we gave a little bit of tip in terms of how to handle that. Personally, I spoke with the Commissioner of Police just as I had a call about it, and he went into action. As a matter of fact, I want to really praise him for that, because when I spoke to him, he went into his communication room, found out what was going on. He told me what the actions were going to be from the police, and when the action was mounted, he called me back and gave me an update, which is
fantastic,
which is really fantastic. I mean, you don't often see that from certain levels of people, but when you see your chief of police interacting with you at that level and giving you a feedback, it tells you that is somebody that is connected at grassroots and at all level. And people like that, with that kind of a reaching ability, would definitely be successful and would get the support of those around him, and that I really want to commend him from. But I think
just so we went into the flowers one time.
Oh yeah, definitely we went into a bit of flowers.
Into the flowers.
Yeah. But I just wanted to just expand on it in terms of, you ask how ready we were. It took us by a lot of people by surprise, because as a matter of fact, he said to me when we spoke, he said, that one took us by surprise. Technically, in the middle of the dry season, you just have water just flowing down from the hills and crossing the street, and people get trapped and all of that. It will definitely take anybody. And meteorologists, they did give some indication, but at least, again, when God says something, even the best scientists cannot really see exactly what's going to happen. So the water came in that side and flooded the streets, and so I think the high point of it was the rapid response by communities, because as a matter of fact, even before the fire truck got to the scene, there was a truck that came. They sent out a rope and chains and so forth, and they were able to help pull the bus out of the area.
Community effort.
Yeah, man, that is really cool. So on the other end, in terms of flowers, what's been happening, I think. Hold on.
You want to jump into the flowers, and that is good. I keep saying a lot of the times you don't give enough flowers, but I want to go back to that flood, because the one that happened previously, I see we remember we lost a young lady in that flood, and I'm thinking, do you think we need to be? I know we do a lot of disaster preparedness, and we focus on the hurricanes, we do some tsunami scenarios, and we should we be doing more for flood?
Of course, we should be. As a matter of fact, there is a chart that identified Grenada's vulnerability, and it identified the hazards for which we are most vulnerable. And so hurricanes happen to be the annual one, but flooding accounts for more of the impacts that we have. So despite hurricane season and tropical cyclones are there every year, but flooding has been, and landslides, it has been our greater natural event contributor in terms of economic setbacks and so forth, where you had to respond. And so you're right, we have to do more in terms of flooding. And one of the things we mentioned on the program before was signage. Putting up more signs in areas that are flood prone, and areas that are landslip prone as well. We think that most signs could be placed in those areas to alert people that if you're going through these places, be cautious and so on. If you're traveling along the West Coast, this area is prone to rockfall. Be careful. We need to see much more about that. And I did mention in terms of road safety, the other angle we speak about, that the AmSafer, that is Aston McIntyre Safety Foundation for Roads. One of the things that we're working on now is, in collaboration with Ministry of Works to get their approval, is to help them to put more signs up across country. And hopefully if we have people contributing towards our effort, we would want to be able to lobby for that and to be able to make contribution towards painting pedestrian crossings and speed bumps. We know that people have been clamoring for that is not well maintained. They seem to be running out of paint too often, and people are banging the vehicles against those humps.
How do we run out of paint?
How do we
run out of paint?
I don't know.
It's Citizens hearing this. Citizens, how do we run out of paint? It's not possible.
You see,
it's a special paint.
Yes, it is a special paint, and according to law, it should be reflective yellow for the pedestrian crossings, etc. And now we have those humps and so forth. I don't know. It has to be something in terms of how we manage the resources, because if you are on top of your game, you'll understand what amount of humps we have across country. And by now, we've been existing for many years. That should tell us what amount of paint is going to require. And then we're running low on stock. Basic store management issues, that you realize you have X amount in store, then you make an order for another shipment. Except something really go wrong across the globe, like the wars and so on, that prevent you from getting it in a certain time, then you can understand it. Other than that, we should always have and have a backup.
So we probably need to start ordering it earlier.
Of course, and the quantities should increase. Yeah. And as you mentioned, people being on top of the game. You know, this morning I was just coming through the Lagoon Road, right? And I saw that they were maintaining apparently the little drains along the Lagoon Road, which is commendable. But you know what is disgusting though?
What is?
They are taking the sand and the little dust and the debris from the side of the road and they're putting it 2 feet into the active roadway. So when you're driving along at night, you would bump into this thing and you can run into an accident. And I'm saying, but who is not using their head? Who is actually giving the contract to these people and not supervising them? And as a matter of fact, you do not have to put that material into the road. It's sand and dust. There are places on the side you can just dump it off without even heaping it. So the same spade that you're using to heap it up, to wait and take up more time so that your contract could extend, they can just heave it onto the side of the road in a little, full up a little place. Because, and I was like, who is not really on top of the game? So it leads to the question, who really supervises these people when they are given the little work? And you look at some elderly persons and no disregard to them, they're doing a job, but who's giving them need to be able to supervise and say,
you need to give some guidance.
You need to give some guidance, because that can create accident, it creates setback, it extends on the amount of time the work is in that busy Q&A James Boulevard. Just get it off the road and put it there. I know vehicles that bumped on this thing. More than one person spoke about it. And I saw it again this morning. I was like,
so it's still there? Yeah,
the people are back working this morning. They left some over the weekend and they're back this morning.
Wow.
So, can I give some flowers again?
Yes.
And the people on top of the flowers, and please, listeners and viewers, don't find that we're really talking too much, but we have to hit the issues.
No. We knock on the negatives. If we have some positives, if we have people doing the right things, we need to highlight them. So let's give the flowers.
So it has been, and it is, a very trying and testing time for our country in terms of what's happening across. There were a number of cruises over the weekend. I think they said there were about 6 cruises that were out. And there was one called the Short Skirts Cruise. You heard about that too?
Sorry, you went on that one?
I did not. I saw some. I saw some of those. But regardless, I mean, it's the time and the era that we live in, and we have to understand my time is not this one.
Right.
And so I respect the people who enjoy themselves in any kind of a way. But it leads back on what is considered to be morality and respect and everything else. If that is the new norm, so be it. Some of us cannot coexist with it, but...
Well, listen, Carnival was launched last Friday, so once the season is open...
Things happen.
It's on.
Right. And when you're out, when they're out, they're out.
We're out.
And we understand that.
So no disregard. Outside like wet clothes?
Yeah.
That's what they say. So they're out, Sylvan.
So I have no problem with that, though. But the safety issue, I understand from social media and so on, there was some risk. The Coast Guard and all had to be called out outside. And we had the incident a couple of weeks ago where I think one young man lost his life. And there were, I think, 2 others who were also wounded in the event. And so I want to be able to give law enforcement some flowers this morning, despite what has been the issues and matters that are under investigation. And I think I saw recently that there has been one law enforcement person that was charged for allegedly one of the situation.
I saw that.
But the flowers I want to really give is to the hierarchy of the RGPF, how they navigated through this process. It is not the easiest of things when allegations and different kind of comments are levied against you. And I think they managed the situation very well. There has not been a lot in terms of reaction negatively by the RGPF, despite the amount of negative comments that came at them. I think the executive has handled that very well. And law enforcement have really kept their focus. They've been doing inspections, they've been doing traffic checks and so forth, and they've been doing the marine type of responsibility without showing a lot of negative towards members of the public. And I think when you have that kind of a reaction and response, it says a lot in terms of how we are able to maintain our tranquility, our peace and safety. And once law enforcement are on top of the game and they understand that we can say to them thank you when they do well, I think that is a plus. And so they are the persons that stand out this morning in terms of giving the flowers for them being above water and navigating through difficult time and leading us through and ensuring that peace and tranquility is maintained, not just for us, but for even the people who visit our shores and who keep their eyes on wanting destinations to go to. That is critical. And so this morning, the flowers, RGPF, Commissioner and his men, I give you some flowers.
I'm with you. I'm giving them flowers as well, because when I saw the incident and I saw it was a police-involved shooting, I think a lot of us had, would it be dealt with? Would it be swept under the rug? Are we going to try to shield our own? People say the police can't police the police, but I think due process is happening, and as much as you say it may hurt, they're going through the process, and it's important for us citizens to feel that the police is not above the law, and they will be processed as any other citizen, and let the law take its course. So that is critical. And I give them flowers as well. So they have lots of flowers this morning, and Commissioner Connaught, man, a cut above the rest. Kudos to you and your team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So before we get into the meat of the matter, we're due for a break. It's 22 and a half minutes gone past 9. It's to the point. And this morning we were talking about disaster management, disaster preparedness. We're about to enter one of our busy seasons. And we have this expert who lends his time and his expertise to us every Monday. And we need to give you your flowers as well, huh? It takes commitment, it takes dedication to be here, and I know you do a lot of work preparing to come and make sure that we are prepared and we can deal with situations as they arise. So you're getting some flowers this morning as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And for those who've been giving us on the streets, I've been meeting some people, and they've been raising some things that they think as well that we can speak about and touch about. We seem to be becoming the voice which we should be for other people. GBN, they look forward to us airing the issues. So when they meet you on the side, they can't call someone and get in, and it's something they kind of shy to speak, but they would say to me, Mr. McIntyre, this is something I wanted to speak about because, and I want to say thank you as well for supporting and rallying and choosing GBN as your avenue or media of choice.
Thank you. Yeah. We take a quick break, folks. We'll be right back to the point.
Get ready, Grenada. The Maggie King of the Grill is back and bigger than ever. On Saturday, June 7th, Monroe's playing field transforms into the ultimate battleground for grill masters. Think you got what it takes? Then fire up those grills and show your skills. Registration closes Friday, April the 11th. So don't miss your chance to compete for that sizzling prize and bragging rights. It's food, fun, and flavor, all powered by Maggie. To register, call 407-8458. Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules. See you there.
GBN presents the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, Saturday, June 7th, Monrouge Plain Field from 11 a.m. Our partners, Maggie, the secret of great flavor, Grenada Distillers Limited, makers of Clark's Court, Grenada's #1 rum, Grenada Paper Products, makers of Cherish, Spring Soft, Harbour Bay, and Super Value Toilet Paper, and Royal, Quick and Easy, and Horizon Paper Towels, Budget Foods Inc., Classic Lighting, and Blue Bubbles PA Rental and Event Supplies. It's the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules.
Coming up, crop over's already in the air, along with all the hype. They conquered the Caribbean, now they're ready for the world. Solid financial support joins the battle versus severe medical conditions. There's absolutely everything you need and then some at this resort. It's all next on this station.
GBN family, we've got a brand new home on Facebook and you need to be there. Follow us now on Facebook at Grenada Broadcasting Network -GBN. Stay updated with the latest news, sports, entertainment, and everything Grenada. Don't miss out. Like, follow, and share. Grenada Broadcasting Network. Stay informed. Stay ahead. First with the news. Fast with the updates.
Welcome back, folks. 25 minutes after 9 on a Monday morning. It's To The Point. I'm Janelle. I'm with Sylvan, McIntyre. And this morning we're talking about disaster, pre-hurricane readiness. Substantial meat of the matter today.
Yes.
Yes. So I'll leave it all to you.
So we just came through Hurricane Beryl in 2024. It has left a trail of devastation across Grenada, the northern part of the island. And Carriacou and Petit Martinique were decimated. Mm-hmm. They are reeling from that. They're trying to recover. And the recovery process, usually, they're given a time span within which you are expected to recover, rebuild, and everything else. Carriacou and Petit Martinique itself being very unique. They have their own culture. It probably would even take a longer period of time because Carriacou are close-knitted, they are enclosed a lot of time, and sometimes resources getting to Carriacou and Petit Martinique, there would be a bit more challenge to it. Mm-hmm. So they would take a bit of recovering. And so in addition to that, the psychological impact that an event of that magnitude would have had on the people. Coming through Janet in 1955, coming through Ivan in 2004, Emily in 2005, and then we've had a number of flooding situations. In 2024, we've had as well fires, we had flood, we had land slippage, and you just name it. And in addition to that, we've had a hurricane. So I'm saying all this to just create a build-up into what people's expectation is likely to be like going into the hurricane season for 2025. And so every year we are faced with tropical cyclones threats, and people become anxious. And for 2025, they'll be a bit more anxious because if you've just been beaten just a few months ago, then you always figure that you may get licks again sometime. And how nature react is very unpredictable. And what you find, you may get hit by a hurricane now, and it doesn't mean that you're out of it. You can get hit, double hit, and I've known countries in the Caribbean that have had a number of hits back to back. Haiti and Cuba and these places, Jamaica further up to the north, and even us down here in the Caribbean, we've had back-to-back hits and so forth. So it is not off to say Grenada, we're not going to get hit another time. The preliminary predictions are out, and it is a similar prediction to what it has been for last year. And what that is saying to us is that we need to keep our preparedness level up and intact. Mm-hmm. It is not just, again, preparing for hurricanes and so on, but you have to be prepared for all events, because within a hurricane you can have earthquakes. Within a hurricane, like I saw an experience in 2021 in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we had volcano erupting, we had flooding taking place, and we had tropical storm hurricane threats that was coming through. And I remember in the BVI, as I said before, I was there responding to a hurricane in 2017. And in the middle of that, we had threats of tsunami because we had earthquakes occurring. Mm-hmm. So that's the norm, and that's the pattern of the new world that we're living in. And so it is saying to us that we need to always keep our preparedness level up. And this is why we have to be able to find the medium, and I use the opportunity through GBN to be able to let people know that we just need to stay on the ball. We just can't sit back and allow things to happen, and we just cannot sit back and say NADMA should do it and NADMA should warn us. Disaster preparedness is a responsibility for every citizen, every household. Mm-hmm. And so while we are now leading the charge and we're saying the official hurricane season would start from June 1st and end on the 30th of November every year. Mm-hmm. But we've seen events and hurricanes and tropical cyclone impacting very early. Last year, 1st of July, was one of those indicators that showed that hurricanes, and of that magnitude, it was a category 4 that struck us. Mm-hmm. And it is not normal to see such a strong hurricane occurring so early in the hurricane season.
We normally have a chance to play carnival and so first. Yes. Before you worry about the hurricanes. Early July, yeah. So
I felt this sense of intuition that I should help us to focus on why we have the Carnival launch before the hurricane season launch. It means, therefore, that we had the hurricane impacting last time before the Carnival. So it means that we should try to be on our game early enough. And we want to speak on some pre-things that we should really be looking at this time. So what really happened during the hurricane season or during any kind of adverse weather condition and so on? You'd have disruption of obviously the utilities. Electricity would be down to an extent. Valve control for water would be put in, and apart from that, you may have landslides or flooding, or otherwise that will affect the supply of water to your homes. In addition to that, phones and everything else may be disrupted. We look at some of our cell sites and towers and so on that were destroyed during Beryl. Are they really back to normal? Have they been tested? Maybe not. So what that is saying to us that we should take some measures really early enough. They have the pigtail buckets are still available. I think they sell them now. They used to be throwing them away one time.
They sell them now?
Yes, they sell them and for good price.
Okay.
There were one time some people selling them for $1. I think they went up to $3. I think $6 and $10 now for a saltfish pigtail bucket, not the saltfish. Saltfish come in boxes, right?
Yes.
But the pigtail and the pig snout and so on, those buckets are still good. With the covers, you can purchase a couple of them if you're not buying proper containers from the Ace and other places and so on, the hardware stores. You can start putting some of these buckets together, soap them up really nicely, disinfect them, and you use a bit of bleach to clean them out, pack them away, have at least 6 of them in your homes, and based on the size of your family, remember you need at least a gallon of water per person per day in a particular household. 1 to 3 gallons, and so you want to be able to do that, to have some basic supply. So start looking at your containers, because as it gets closer to the hurricane season, they will get scarce. Right. You look at now what is the backup for your power and so on. It is also a good time to look at whether you need to check your electricity in the house, whether you had an inspection undertaken for a period of time, contact your electrician and so forth. Let him look at some things that may have deteriorated over a period of time, and do you need to check up on any of those? And what do we have as backup? Well, we know after Beryl there was quite a number of generators in circulation, and we hope that people did not abuse and misuse them so they cannot be made ready for this season. So it's a time when you should look at the little generators or the power supply that you may have as backup. Look at them, have them service, run them, test them and so on, see if there's any little issue on them. Make sure they're running, they need to be serviced, do that, and you're ready. And so there are natural energy sources that you can look at, like solar lighting.
Right.
Whether you have a solar light or lamp or solar chargers for your phones that you need. So now you can be in communication, and you can also get information if you have solar energy to charge your radios, to power them up, and to also get your phones operating. So those are some cool things. So we speak about water, we speak about communication, we speak about energy. What about the house in terms of its integrity? After the hurricane has struck, foundations will be shaken, some structures would be suspect, and some people have rebuilt, and they rebuild really quickly. So I am suggesting, from a national point of view, that an entity or group of experts should lead the process of conducting not just shelter inspections, because I know that maybe by now NADMA may have done their shelter inspections and they're going to release the number of shelters maybe before June 1st. That is good. But what about the individuals who suffered some loss of their house? Their house may have had some damage, and if you're bitten one time, the second time you'll be less resilient. So what have they done differently to ensure that the houses stand up? Have we ensured that we have quite a number of hurricane rafter straps that we can make accessible? Maybe donate to some people who are less fortunate in terms of resources, that they can reinforce their structure. Now, if you have a structure that is a wooden structure, it is vulnerable to strong winds and hurricane force winds, etc. But if the structure is able to be held together, you'd have less destruction. And hurricanes don't last for many, many hours. They would come through over a period of time, they would batter, and they would tend to move on, except for rare condition where they would sit over a period of place, and they would give more rains than wind sometime during those period of time. But if structures are made to be held together, you will have less damage less injuries to people. But if they're just there, the support is not together, they are able to be pulled apart very much easier. And so you hear people say that we are stronger together. That's literal. So if you are able to create some level of connectivity in the entire structure, meaning that the rafters are held down with the building itself, a wooden structure, and the structure that goes down to the support columns, all the way down to the columns and the pillars, that you do have bolts that hold them down, that structure will become more resilient. So as we go through, you want to be able to look at that aspect of reinforcing, retrofitting your structure. Now, what about the exterior of the building? I met a former educator, retiree, a couple of days ago, and she was saying, Mr. McIntyre, I know one of the things I want you to say to the nation, let us go back to the contour drains. Let us look at the drains around our homes. She said, in our days growing up, we knew of the contour drains. That's the drains that go across and not run down along, like parallel to the structure. It goes across the landscape. And so when water comes off, it runs off. It doesn't come down with that force. So those drains that goes across, it breaks the velocity or the strength of the water that's coming down. It is channeled off into another direction. It goes down and it goes into another one sometimes. So it meanders. So it breaks down the strength, as I said, the velocity of what is coming. So you would have less land slippage and you have less flash flooding occurring down plane. And I did add to her, and I said, you know what? In those days, from those drains, we also added some dashing trees.
Yes.
And you get the callaloo from them.
Yes.
So even that would break down and absorb some of the moisture that's coming. So we need to be able to go back to that. And the engineers and the people who are designing structures, and I was speaking about an inspection process that need to go across country just before the hurricane season kick in. All of these things should be incorporated, and recommendations should be made to householders to be able to do that. And are we due for another break anytime soon?
In a short while. Well, before we go, I just want to make the point. As a child, I actually saw the contour drains. My grandfather had it, and as you say, he had some callaloo and so in it. And I kept saying, I mean, wouldn't it be easier to just do a straight drain?
Oh, okay.
But you see, and he never explained, mind you, why it was a contour drain. But it's so important to pass on the why. As I tell my kids anything now, I get the why.
Right.
We have to be able to pass on the why, and a lot of the times we don't pass on the why. So
Absolutely.
maybe people are just building and they're doing straight drains because nobody passed on the why.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's one of the focus that we really need to go back. I think people are building. It looked nice that you build and we put the concrete and we power wash them, right? Concrete all around the house, and we just power wash the place. But if you realize that when you do so much concrete, what do you have? Faster runoff. And with the faster runoff, you have flash floods. Down plane. Yeah. They will go down really quickly, and then you realize water building up down the low-lying areas. What's caused that? But too much concrete. And so some of the smaller portions of land that we use, and we need to create more green space.
Yeah.
With the green space, it would absorb some of the moisture and so forth. It gives us some healthier environment, because with the green space, it makes the air quality better. And with that green space, you could also involve in backyard or around yard gardening. Do a little bit of stands, put a little bit of lettuce around the house, a little bit of beets and so on, cauliflower, a little seasoning and so on. And that's nice. Yeah. But we get away from that. We stay inside with the gadgets and don't go out and pluck the grass and put the little thing around. And then when flood come, the thing goes, we don't have thing to eat, and still we are exposed to floods.
Well, to be honest, there was a movement last year to start the backyard gardening, and I was one of those, and I think a lot of my friends, hello, I have things growing.
Nice. I commend you.
I'm not physically doing the planting, but things are growing.
Okay, good.
I think a lot of us took it up, and we have some more things planted now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So the people, your followers and listeners, they're listening to you, and I mean, if you lead by the example, that's cool, a small way. And I like the thing about eating what you grow and growing what you eat. It is so nice to be able to walk in your backyard and pull something. I pull just about everything from around the house. I saw some cherries falling from around my house now, and the papaya, and so I was slicing these things up. And Janelle, let me not make a boast, but I have my freezer lined up right now with a few different fresh fruit punches. Nice. I bottle them and I put them there. So when you see me driving around and think, I pull one of my punch, my smoothie, and I'm going with that. All
Very
came
good.
from my garden.
Very good. My cherry tree got too big, and the congories, they were having a feast. I cut them all.
You cut the cherry trees down?
All. I couldn't get. They were so tall.
Right.
And only congories.
On the ground.
Yeah.
So you know what? You can control the congory on the ground. And you know what you do? You can buy yourself one at 10 by 12 tarpaulin. You spread it under the tree, get close to the stool, and spread it out, and you have somebody shake the tree and drop on the tarpaulin. You pull the tarpaulin together. The congory will be under the tarpaulin, and all your cherries would be on top.
Well,
so
I was hasty.
You missed
I was hasty. I cut it out. I'm trying again with guavas now.
So similar, when you have things like that small as cherries and you can't get to harvest them like that, you put something on the ground. I would like the damsel and so forth.
See why I needed you? But we need a break now.
Yeah, so you can get, if you have damsel and you have things like cherries, there's small things that you can't just pull like that. You get even sheets or blankets, spread it, shake the thing that it fall, pick them up, you good. That's hurricane preparedness as well.
You see why we need him every Monday, folks. we need him every Monday. But we also need to take a quick break. We take the break, we come back, and it is to the point.
Got something to share?
Call us at 440-1252.
WhatsApp 405-3052 or 407-8458.
Or email gbnnews@gbn.gd.
GBN News, first, accurate, voted #1.
Get ready, Grenada. The Maggie King of the Grill is back and bigger than ever. On Saturday, June 7th, Monroe's playing field transforms into the ultimate battleground for grill masters. Think you got what it takes? Then fire up those grills and show your skills. Registration closes Friday, April the 11th. So don't miss your chance to compete for that sizzling prize and bragging rights. It's food, fun, and flavor, all powered by Maggie. To register, call 407-8458. Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules. See you there.
GBN presents the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, Saturday, June 7th, Monrouge Plainfield from 11 a.m. Our partners, Maggie, the secret of great flavor, Grenada Distillers Limited, makers of Clark's Court, Grenada's #1 rum, Grenada Paper Products, makers of Cherish, Spring Soft, Harbour Bay, and Super Value Toilet Paper, and Royal, Quick and Easy, and Horizon Paper Towels, Budget Foods Inc., Classic Lighting, and Blue Bubbles PA Rental and Event Supplies. It's the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules.
Welcome back. It is 16 minutes on to that 10 o'clock hour. It's to the point. Monday, we're talking about disaster preparedness and, of course, ways we can mitigate. And, of course, keep the food. Yeah, keep food growing and alive around your house. So, the cherry tree is gone. What next can we do?
We can look at the other things around the house that sometimes we can use, but they can become a hazard during hurricane season. You have the coconut trees, and so some of them grow up. So you want to manage that. And we've had a lot of complaint when I was in NADMA. People calling about people's coconut tree, they're not picking the coconuts. It's a good thing to do during the hurricane season. You don't have to cut every tree down, but you kind of what I call defruit them. You can pick the fruits. And when you have a direct threat, especially especially with hurricanes, we have a lot of ample warning times. You just go get these things off, because if not to yourself, it would be to a neighbor. And some of the fruits that can become missiles that can smash your glass and other things, you can take them down. So part of the pre-hurricane season readiness, you look at those things that you need to, trees that you need to trim, prune. You look at the drains that you need to. You would want to be able to check to see if you're, during this sun time, that some of your areas on your roofing was not lifted. That can lead water in. I heard one of my tenants speaking about some drops coming in by me. I had to check that out as well in the hurricane season. So I make sure that my tenants are comfortable and my home is secured for the hurricane season just as well. So these are some things that you can really do around. It seems as though it's a common sense thing, but it isn't. A lot of people forget that you need to really put some things in place. Look at your contact procedures in terms of what you call a family disaster plan. What do every member of the family do? I remember we used to have exciting time within my family. The boys and them used to be. I know Ali, one of my sons. He was the little meteorologist. He followed the storm for me. I said, Daddy, look at checking the X, Y, and Z and so on. I would say, well, this is how little things that we should do. Have a little go bag packed and so forth. Put the stuff in it. The go bags that we have, they should be replenished. I don't think we are cultured in that sense, Janelle, and disciplined to put things in a bag and keep it there through the hurricane season. We're eating everything.
No, you have to make sure it don't expire.
Don't you see? I know the same reason people come up with.
It expire. If you have what sardines and stuff from last year, you need new sardines.
Take those that are going to be expired and replenish it with fresh ones. They eat the things out of the bags and never put them back. So I think it's a culture. People can't resist the temptation of knowing, but I have a few things that come, they have a few things that are in there, and you have some things they would knock that out and do not replenish it. But I think we should just culture ourselves.
It's not purpose. Let me tell you, the other day I was so hungry and I had no bread. I was like, wait, I had Crick's butter. Hello.
And you knocked that out, right?
Yeah.
Did you buy and put back? No, maybe not.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
Yet.
What are you going to do for the hurricane season?
Yes, as we are about to enter another season, yes.
And how long you think you're going to stock stuff that could last for how long? Your size of your family, you're not big, not
like 4.
Right. So you have enough stuff to last for a week for 4 in a bag?
Yeah, man.
I'm proud of you, Janelle.
Yeah.
I'm happy. Not a lot of people do that, you know that.
Like we stock for about a week.
For a week?
Yeah.
Okay, very, very good.
Even here too, like
within GBN?
Yeah, we stock up supplies for at least a week.
Yeah. You know one of the things I saw when I went to BVI after the hurricane? We stayed in one of the hospitals. That was the safest place we could have been. The only place I think that around that was kind of thing. And we walked from the hospital and so forth. They had a massive generator, so they had powers and everything as a sort. So I think we were in one of the reception rooms. And when we went to the offices, every office had stuff in it.
Nice.
The people who were the managers, they had the equipment and the computers covered down. And when we looked, every office you went, there were little things that could have kept them for a period, but they were not there though, obviously. The devastation was so great that some of them had to go and look after the family. But it's a culture that we should really try to build, of ensuring that at least during the hurricane season, we have some things to go by. And now, this year, we've had yams and so on being quite a bit tanya. I mean, during hurricane time, nature respond very positively. So we're going to have a lot of fruits this year. A lot of avocado, and we're going to have a lot of mangoes and everything. Yeah, trust me. And I love mangoes too. So we're going to have, and farmers going to plant, there'll be great yields this year. Trust me. So we got to look at how do we do with we may have glut on the market. So I also say you should look at how do you cater for the glut.
Yeah.
So I want Adventist people to really forgive me. I'm going to raise some pigs, because all of the things that come from the farm that you may try to throw away, I want to recycle that into pig feed.
Right.
Throw it to my pigs and so on, and I love pork down the street, whether it's the ham or the salt pork to make the oil down. I put a whole pig during the season so I can eat oil down the street. But it's a real fallback. You have to think about these things, that if you have a glut, what do you do with that stuff? You can do two things: go back, make it animal feed, or you make it compost that you can use into agricultural produce.
That's a whole other pet peeve for me, because I think we have too much wastage.
Yeah.
Every year you see the drains packed with mangoes and other fruits. Too much wastage. We need to go into agro-processing and find ways to preserve the food.
Yes.
Throwing away.
And make a bit more breadfruit flour.
In itself.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Make more breadfruit flour, yam flour, cassava flour, dashing flour, and have cereal with these things and chips and so on. Man, these things are awesome.
Should we be planting more food for underground, since the hurricanes come and they damage a lot of what is above the ground, would you say?
Well, we should plant with a focus that certain things will be available at certain time. So you would figure when the hurricane season would peak, then what things should you have at a certain level. So during the hurricane season, then you should say, by that time, let me plant potatoes, dashing, yams, etc. And technically around these times when so these things would stay low. So even if you have, and in some cases, if you have trees like bananas and plantains, etc., that grow, you are able to stable some of them if you have a direct threat. And the type of land space you have where you are located will also dictate what kinds of things you should plant and what do best. And I know agriculture have been advising people, but we need to be able to do a bit more of that. So in general, hurricane preparedness, pre-hurricane season preparedness, there's so much we can go into. But what I want to say in general, people look at what you know is likely to be in short supply during the hurricane season and try to start the process now. As I mentioned, utility, electricity, water, communication, those are something that would be affected. And some things like your food, your house, the surrounding and everything are those. Your home is your castle, your house is your shelter. You have to be prepared to remain at home. Once your structure is safe enough, make it safe. Try not to be depending on what the country have in terms of shelters. There's no place sweeter than home. And even during the hurricane, no place is still sweeter than home. But if you are going to choose home, it has to be certified as being safe. And that's why I speak of the inspection process. We're always speaking about shelters, but individual homes are places that we need to really ensure safe.
Okay. Well, the lines have been going, and I know I denied you the opportunity to participate quite a bit this morning. Is now, 8 minutes on to 10? But we do have a caller on the line. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Morning, Miss McDonald, and morning, Mr. Sylvan McIntyre. I was prompted by a question you asked, Ms. McDonald, you asked Mr. Sylvan about planting on the ground, below the ground food. And in that case, I would recommend, and I recommend already, that you have Dr. Marcel, who recently was recognized for his outstanding work over the years in various fields. He has been proposing that as a policy, we set aside certain or encourage farmers and others to set aside a certain part of their land to go underground food, specifically yam and the other stuff. Because he said this is one of the ways people in the past prepare, for different difficulties, and that's it, kind of thing. And in the context of the unstable world we have, we must. The other thing about it, we talk about different things. Like last week, I thought the program was excellent in terms of the issue of light. We need to connect all the dots, because you could be going planting and light is all over. And I'm talking about other crops now, and it's being affected by the light. So we need to sit down as a nation in whatever forum or so and discuss how can we prepare our people for the future. And the future will not be easy. It has been hard for us, in this generation, but it will even be tougher and more, much more difficult for those people that we're leaving behind. So we need to have much more conversation on how we could sort of connect the various sectors and the various issues. The social issues, yes, we must attend to it. But also, and I keep saying, unless we take a community development-led approach, not a private sector or export-led growth kind of policy that has been promoted over the years, let us take a community-led development approach. It has to be led by the community, and we have to resource community, encourage us to organize ourselves. And it wouldn't be easy. There must be a deliberate policy and funding going to that. Otherwise, and I'm saying on the basis, I've been doing many courses in different parts of the world, whether it's in Western Pacific. I'm starting one in Asia and South Asia this week. I did it European and also in the Americas. And the problems are very complex, and we need to help our people face. Many people, including doctors, only now begin to understand the complex situation that climate change poses. I will stop here now for your allowing me to talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very good. This caller has always been making some very useful intervention.
Yes.
Then last week we had a guest with us, and we were speaking about light invasion and light pollution. That's what he was referring to. And light
pollution.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'm sorry that I missed it.
You
Maybe
tell me about that one after.
it. But we're going to have that person come back again because there's a really interesting angle to which the proliferation of lights across, how it affects our psyche, our psychosocial, and how it affects our food production levels as well.
Okay, let's go back to the lines. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Hello, good morning. Thank you. I just wanted to make a small contribution as it relates to the blower tree, the plantain tree, the fig tree around the house. I noticed during the time of Emily, right? I was looking outside and I was watching them, how they're bowing and coming back up, and the wind almost blew them down. So thank God I got a little chance, a little windbreak, a little period of calmness. I went outside and I trimmed almost all the leaves of the trees. And then the second phase, I realized none of them blew down, because I believe if I didn't trim off most of the leaves, especially from the more mature ones, all of that would have gone down. So I just want to say that as one of the means in which we could mitigate against certain things being destroyed during a hurricane.
Very, very useful.
Thank you so much, caller.
Very, very useful intervention. And we're going to take another caller.
We'll just take another caller. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. In Grenada, people have a tendency not to take advice. Everybody is on Mr. Noel, Miss Noel. If you give them an advice, they tend to say they know. But what I'm bothering myself about is you're on the program, you all on the program are advocating to give people advice. But people take advice if they're willing to take advice. What I have already said, they know. I know. And nobody in Grenada like to take advice, except they felt the blunt of the assault, either the hurricane or something adversely that affect them. Now, we are saying that the government have to help people. But as far as I'm concerned, yes, the government have to help, but not to the extremes as how people want help. You have to help yourself, and then God will help you. You can't just sit down and bawl, God help me, God help me. You have to put out yourself to start somewhere. And people in Grenada only want those who have much to help them. It's time that we get up and get. All of us have to get up and get and assist one another. Thank you very much.
Caller, thank you. I like the point about advice, and you shouldn't take advice wherever it comes from. But when you have a disaster risk management specialist giving it to you, I think we need to listen and we need to pay attention. We could probably squeeze in one more.
Yes.
Yeah, squeeze in one more. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, manager. Good morning, Mr. Sylvan. Mr. Sylvan?
Yes?
Yes. I'm trying to reach you more than 6 months now. I'll even message in Magna for you. Nagma, I ain't getting no reply. My number is 4030436. My topic today is very simple.
Give him the number again. Give him the number again.
4030436.
Got you. Go ahead.
You got the number?
We got you. Go ahead with the contribution.
Yes. Madam Manager, you know what I want to give you all flowers. I understand they give you all about 9 awards there. That is beautiful. Very good. I listen to GBN every day and I'm glad for GBN. 2 awards I forget to give you all. And that award is especially Innocent and GT. We should give 2 of them specifically, as I said, this award. Madam Manager, what is the reason why you all only bring in specific sports? Why you all are only bringing athletics, cricket, and athletics, cricket, and oh God, the next one, and football? You all not bringing no other sport. This is a big disappointment with you all. Lawn tennis say they stop sending things all year because it ain't coming. They had a revised golf, upping golf, because they bring in some people 3 months ago from the Wentworth to start a competition. They send correspondent to you all. A whole 2 weeks, all you fail, all you didn't bring nothing, all you didn't bring the starting one, we didn't check the end. All you didn't bring nothing. It have NBA basketball going on. It have Brazil basketball. It have Argentina basketball. But let me stick on back. What is the reason why? Is it that your station is only committed to bring these three sports? What I talk about, football, athletics, and cricket, and if there is a sport, it's netball. Let people know that that's the rule. That's the order of the day. So people will not call. The next one was 9 people. Every time GBN doing pan people this. Hundreds of children, and all this talking about children, hundreds of children playing pan. Up to now, we had a pan festival in 13 Sunday gone. I'm watching and all this for the last month since they organized that. Easter, the Wednesday after Easter, one advertisement about it. The Saturday, GT brings something about it. Not even a pan tune. What is the problem with GBN? But all you know how to be off the air for 15 minutes there already. Let's start. And then all you bring advertisement long from Trinidad to Brazil. If you want children to listen news and all kind of thing, all you have to have a better behavior. Children cannot sit on by your radio station. You are Labby 1 FM bringing all the pan music in Grenada. They advance from 101 to 2 and other stations. Why GBN doing that only the last week in July month, going into August, only pan? No pan? Thank you very much.
Caller, thank you so much for your observations. I'm sure we will examine them and take what we can from them. Thank you for bringing your concerns forward. We're over time.
Yes, Janelle.
Anything you want to leave us with before we wrap?
Yeah, we should. As we go into the hurricane season, definitely we will endeavor to give more tips. We want to be able to compliment NADMA in terms of their preparedness across country for the hurricane season to be able to do that. But in addition, I want to say my understanding of the limitations across country and what I still have to offer. I generated a new movement called Drivers. It is called Disaster Risk Reduction Innovative Emergency Responders. Drivers. And across country, you'll hear more. We'll be putting out on social media or otherwise so that people wishing across country to be able to join us, to be a movement, to help Grenada recover when we have some kind of a response and to help mitigate some issues. That's the drivers you need to have moving you around. And so we want to be able to be in Grenada throughout the Caribbean to be able to lend that resource. So that's a new movement that we're going to have. It's complementing the Caribbean Disaster Risk Management Solutions company that we have as well, that brings disaster risk management across, that supports this program that we're doing. As we leave, I just want to encourage people to continue to be focused, continue to look out for each other, continue to be safe. I know there are issues that people raised around in terms of one of them over the weekend. They spoke to me about the pollution of vehicles derelict across the streets again and the double parking. It's something that people really need to look into. And finally, I want to guard us against movements and cultures that are not positive to us. There is Janelle, we grew up with saying good morning to each other as pleasant greetings, and there seems to be some new encroaching saying morning time. I wish to guard Grenadians against this, what it has been working for us, that shows that we care and concern about saying a pleasant good morning should not be replaced with just saying morning time. Morning time? Yes.
That's a new one? Mm-hmm. I don't know it yet.
And a few people, you call them and they say morning time, and that's the response.
As a greeting?
Yes, as a greeting. And I do not want that to replace the culture that we grew up with each other. Have a good greeting, us wanting to say to people, have a pleasant day, good morning, good evening. That cannot be replaced by something that just say to you morning time, when we should understand already it is morning time.
Just morning. Morning time.
And morning is, we kind of eroding it, like we say Xmas when we try to take away Christmas. Right. We have to guard against these things, because some of these things that kept us together as a people and have us looking out for each other, we cannot really go away too far from it at all. And let us continue to maintain saying good morning to each other, which says, I care for you. I wish you a wonderful day.
Yeah. Well, good morning to you.
And good morning to all our followers.
And good morning to all our listeners and followers. This is where we put a wrap on it. It is 5 minutes gone past 10. It's a Monday morning. Keep it productive and have a wonderful one. I'm Janelle, sitting in for GT this morning. Have a fantastic Monday, folks. Bye-bye.